Padres Radio Network.
Yeah, Machado laces it in the air to deep left. This one gonna go!
Coming up, we'll recap the last Padres game, preview today's starting pitching matchup, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stamen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today the Padres take on the Colorado Rockies in the third game of a four-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Rockies, right-hander Ryan Feltner, and for the Padres, right-hander German Marquez. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 5:40. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, you'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stamen. You'll hear from tonight's second baseman, Fernando Tatis Jr. You heard me right. Tonight's starting second baseman, Fernando Tatis Jr., as Fernando makes his first career start at second base. You'll also hear from Nick Castellanos in a little while. And in just a few minutes, we check in with Padres radio voice, Jesse Agler. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres are 8-6 entering today. They've won 3 games in a row, 6 of their last 7, 7 of their last 9. Tonight, German Marquez makes his third start of the season. The 31-year-old makes his first start against the Rockies. Of course, he spent the first 10 years of his career in Colorado before signing with San Diego. Meanwhile, the Rockies come in 6-8. Rockies entered this series on a 4-game winning streak. On Thursday night, it was Xander Bogaerts who won it on a walk-off grand slam in extra innings. Last night, another walk-off hero had a big swing. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
We had a pitcher's duel early on. Walker Buehler getting it done for the Padres. Tomoyuki Sugano for Colorado. Buehler pitched 5 scoreless innings to begin the night. Sugano was through 4 scoreless when he took the mound in the bottom half of the 5th inning. It was Gavin Sheets who led off.
1-1 pitch, and Sheets hits it a mile deep to right center field. Freeman is back at the wall, looking up, gonna go! Gavin Sheets out the door, his first of the season, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the 5th.
A couple batters later, it was Luis Campusano.
Campusano doubled his first time up. Swings here, hits one in the air, deep to left field. Moniak's back. This one gonna go. Luis Campusano with his first home run of the year. Padres have left the yard twice here in the 5th. They lead it 2-0.
Buehler went 6 scoreless innings, allowed just 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks, 68 pitches, 50 for strikes. He was super efficient last night. Padres still led 2-0 in the top of the 8th inning. Adrian Morejon got in trouble. He would allow a pinch hit RBI single to Hunter Goodman. That made it 2-1. Later in the inning, it was the Rockies' Jordan Beck.
Here's the pitch. Beck swings, hits it over Sheets into right field and a base hit. Goodman rounding third on his way. Tatis's throw to the plate, the tag not in time. Tie game here in the 8th inning as the Rockies have rallied for 2 and tied it up against Morejon.
That was it for Adrian Morejon. Jason Adam came in for his season debut, got the final out of the 8th inning. After Mason Miller struck out the side in the 9th inning, Padres would then rally in the bottom half with the game still tied at 2. Jackson Merrill hit a leadoff single. Manny Machado walked with 1 out and runners on first at third. It was Gavin Sheets.
1-0. Sheets swings, hits it a mile, deep to right center field. Guess what? He didn't need it all, but he got it all. His second home run of the night, a 3-run walk-off blast, and the Padres win it 5-2 in the bottom of the 9th.
Another big swing to end it last night. Padres win a 3rd consecutive game. They move 2 games above 500 for the first time this season in the final on a Friday night in downtown San Diego. Padres 5 and the Rockies 2. And now we turn our full attention to the 3rd game of this 4-game series. As we said, the headline heading into today. Fernando Tatis Jr., and I think what was a surprise to everybody, maybe aside from Craig Stamen and some others in the Padres organization, well, they put the lineup out today. Fernando Tatis Jr. playing second base, his first ever start at second base in the major leagues. His only ever appearance at second was in September of 2023. He played 1/2 inning there. That's it. That's the headline heading into tonight. Let's talk more about it as we check in with Jesse Agler.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Jesse, let's start with the headline of the day. That is Fernando Tatis Jr. getting his first career start at second base. I think it was a little bit stunning to all of us when we saw the lineup earlier today. Not stunning to Craig Stamen, to people in the Padres organization, based on some of the conversations that have gone on recently. But your initial reaction when you saw Nando at second?
Yeah, no, definitely surprising to me. And I guess, hey, you can still keep a secret in 2026. Who knew? Even in the age of social media, the Padres were able to keep this really very well under wraps, as we've heard. And I'm sure you've discussed. They started talking about this in the offseason. They had further conversations about it in spring training. But, I mean, none of us sniffed it. None of us at all. I mean, Tony and I were surprised. You were surprised. I think everybody who covers this team on a daily basis was surprised by it. And it's a fascinating thing to break down. It really is, because it's just a very non-standard thing to do, I think, for most teams. But the more I've thought about it today, A, I think the more it makes some sense. And B, I say this in kind of a complimentary way. You know what team would probably do something like this? The team up to 5. Yep. This is kind of cut from their cloth. You have a bunch of guys that can do a bunch of different things. You've got some, super athletic kinds of guys who can play all sorts of different positions, and you sort of loosen the reins a little bit and you let them do some different things. That's the kind of stuff the Dodgers have been doing for a lot of years now. And I don't think this is going to be a regular thing. We're not going to see Fernando start 10 games a month on the infield or anything like that. But it is a creative solution to not a problem, but a puzzle for the Padres on the infield when you want to give a day off to somebody like Xander Bogaerts, which is the case here tonight.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. And I think, Jesse, also from the offensive standpoint, if somehow it gets Fernando going, he's hitting the ball hard, but the results haven't been there. If it puts a smile on his face, like Craig Stamen alluded to, it gets him going offensively. To me, Jesse, it's all worth it, no matter what the defense really is or not.
No doubt about it. And, we talk all the time about how psychological this game is. And that's the exact kind of thing we're talking about when we say that, right? He has been hitting the ball hard. You don't really want him changing his approach. He's just not getting the results. But, you give him the change of scenery. You sort of loosen him up a little bit psychologically, mentally. You just get him in a different place, literally second base, but also psychologically. You get him in a different, mindset by moving him around a little bit. And maybe, just maybe, that is the thing that opens the floodgates for him offensively. The reality is, right, if he runs into one tonight, hits his first home run of the season, we're all going to come afterwards and say, hey, second base, he hits a home run. And there's no cause or effect there, but it'll feel like there is. And that is the sort of thing that can sort of jumpstart a guy in the crazy game of baseball.
Well, Tatis certainly the headline, but also German Marquez making his third start of the season, coming off a very good second start as a Padre. He faces the team he spent the first 10 years of his career with in the Colorado Rockies. Certainly an interesting part of this game. And German Marquez, Jesse, coming off a very impressive start. We'll see if he can do it again. Yeah,
he looked much, much, much better last time out in Pittsburgh. Very encouraging. Obviously, you take 5 shutout innings from your starter. Anytime he'll offer it to you. But tonight it's a different animal for him. I mean, I'm not going to downplay the emotions that Marquez will probably be feeling. You mentioned 10 seasons in the big leagues with this guy, 14 years as a part of their organization. It's the only organization he ever knew since he was a teenager, before this year when he joined the Padres. So that's a big deal. Now, it's a little bit odd in that there are so many new guys in the Rocky lineup that it's not like he's going to be facing guy after guy after guy tonight, that he came through the system with or anything like that. He has no emotional connection whatsoever to Edward Julian or Troy Johnston or Brett Sullivan or really even Kyle Karros, and all these new faces that the Rockies have. But, when he is facing a guy like Ezequiel Tovar, who he's very, very close with, it's going to be a little bit weird for him. And I'm sure even just seeing that purple or gray uniform in the batter's box will be a little bit weird for him. So a little bit extra for Marquez to work through here this evening. Sometimes that could be a positive. Sometimes that could be a negative. Sometimes it ends up being neutral for a guy. But I would never say it's not a thing for a pitcher, particularly that first time after a long time, as is the case tonight for Marquez.
Jesse, good insight as always. Ryan Feltner on the mound for the Rockies tonight. We'll talk more about him coming up a little bit later as well. Enjoy the ball game tonight. We'll talk to you and Tony coming up at 5:30. Thanks so much.
You got it, Sammy.
That is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for the third game of this 4-game set between the Padres and the Colorado Rockies. Again, German Marquez, the former Rocky, going up against his former team. Ryan Feltner, right-hander, on the mound today for Colorado. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stamen. As you may have guessed, a lot of the focus with Craig today about the Padres' decision to put Fernando Tatis Jr. at second base today. He'll make his first ever start at second base in the major leagues. Only the second time he's ever appeared at second base in his major league career. Plus, we have our keys to today's game, who's hot, who's not, and we'll also hear from tonight's right fielder, Nick Castellanos. First pitch coming up at 5:40. Our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the EcoWater.
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 5:40 as the Padres take on the Colorado Rockies. Our pregame coverage, as always, brought to you by EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. That's 760-350-3338. Take a look at the Padres lineup today. It's an interesting one. It looks like this. Ramon Laureano in left field leading off. Fernando Tatis Jr. batting second. That's not the interesting part. The fact that he's playing second base is the interesting part. Yes, Fernando at second tonight, batting second. Jackson Merrill in center field, batting third. Manny Machado in the cleanup spot, playing third base. Nick Castellanos in right field, batting fifth. Gavin Sheets at first base, batting sixth. Miguel Andujar, the DH, batting seventh. Freddie Fermin at catcher, batting eighth. And Jake Cronenworth at shortstop tonight, batting ninth, with right-hander German Marquez on the hill. Before we hear from Padres manager Craig Stamen, let's quickly pause for station identification on the Padres radio network.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hey, this is David Morgan, pitcher with the San Diego Padres. You're listening to Padres Baseball on the Padres Radio Network.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
First pitch coming up at 5:40 between the Padres and Rockies. Sam Levitt with you from inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building as we get you ready for tonight's game on this beautiful Saturday evening here in America's finest city. As we get ready for this one, let's hear from the Padre manager, Craig Stamen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stamen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
All right, well, what went into the decision to start Fernando at second base for the first time in his career?
Just want to get you guys excited. I think we've been planning this for a little while. We've given him a heads up, trying to figure out a way to get Jake and Xander some days off coming up, and felt like Tatis was the best option at second base and the most fun and exciting option at second base. So, get that kid smiling a little bit might help too.
In terms of Xander, is this just a routine off day for him then?
Yeah, just a routine off day. Trying to give these guys a little breather as we go start the season. They've been going at it pretty hard, been playing great, playing hard. So just off day, I'll be back in there tomorrow.
Craig, obviously Fernando's an exceptional athlete, but he's never played second base before, didn't play it during spring training. What gives you guys confidence that he can do a nice job over there defensively?
That he's an amazing athlete, can do about anything. Yeah, that's really all it is. Just really confident in who he is as a person, who he is as an athlete. I think you put something in front of him, he'll be able to do anything. It keeps his brain active, keeps him engaged and having fun and showing up to the ballpark with something new to achieve.
So why wouldn't you just move him back to short?
We could. We like Jake at shortstop. We like him at second base.
Jake is your regular second baseman.
That's right.
Okay. Fernando came up as a shortstop.
He did. He hasn't played shortstop in a long time either.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's never played second base. So I'm just trying to peel the grape away on why you and your baseball operations department made this decision.
Yeah, I think one is we have a shortstop that's going to be here for a long time. That's Xander Bogaerts. Right. And not that Jake's not going to be here for a long time either. But we feel like Jake did a great job at playing shortstop last season. And whenever Xander needs a day, we feel more comfortable with Crony playing shortstop.
You alluded to it, but considering the way he started the season offensively, is giving him something new, a new challenge, a part of this as well?
Yeah, I mean, not on purpose, but, maybe, him concentrating on playing second base unlocks him at the plate and stops thinking so much about it and just uses his natural talent to take over. And, again, last night he had two more balls where he hit over 100, 103, 105 and had nothing to show for it. So he's getting a little frustrated. I think we can tell that he's getting a little frustrated that none of those hits are falling, and keep patting him on the back and say, hey, they're eventually going to fall, and they will. And it's just early in the season, but excited to have a guy like him playing second base tonight.
When you say this is something that's been planned for a while, when did those conversations start, and what does the preparation for this look like for Fernando?
Yeah, probably in spring training we started talking about, who could play second base if Jake Cronenworth got hurt, or who would play shortstop if Xander Bogaerts got hurt. And we felt like this was an option, and we kind of liked it and wanted to see what it looks like in a real game, and we're going to see tonight.
What kind of work has he been doing there? Has he been getting any work there in the spring? Or?
He didn't do a ton in spring because he was at the WBC, but Fernando loves taking ground balls almost every day. He did it all last season, and then I don't know if you've been paying attention the last, since the season started, he's been taking ground balls at second base. So, feel pretty comfortable he'll be fine there.
Turning a double play and things like that is that just kind of something you hope that Nate?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been doing that since he was probably 2 years old. So feel pretty good about him doing that. Will he be perfect, like the best second base of all time? He might be, but you never know. We'll see. But I'm not that worried about Fernando Tatis Jr. playing second base.
Is he back in right field tomorrow, or what? Any plan on that?
TBD.
What was his reaction?
He gave me a big smile.
He's so good about. I mean, you really want to get guys days off. Like, it seems so intentional. Can you just kind of speak to how you're trying to do that throughout the season for everybody, not just Manny, but it seems like a lot of guys you really want to make that a thing.
Yeah, I think the days of playing 162 are just really tough now in this day and age with all the media attention and stress level that they endure on a daily basis. What we expect out of them, the practice that we put on them on the field every single day. So I think it's important for them to just get a little breather. And in my opinion, they're going to be fresher at the end of the season. We'll see if I'm right or not. But, we just trying to do what's best for them.
Is there also an element of letting Castellanos get a start in a spot where he's comfortable?
Yeah, that's also true, too. We got a lot of guys on the bench that want to play and deserve to play and have had some big hits so far in the season. And getting those guys in the lineup also helps when we give other guys days off.
You see at Herman today, a great outing in Pittsburgh. Obviously, the first one not where he wanted to be. What kind of progression are you hoping to see with Herman?
Yeah, hopefully same kind of things we saw in Pittsburgh. Get that breaking ball working and show that 95+ mile an hour fastball. We get those two things going tonight. I think he'll have some success. Plus, there's a little bit of a revenge tour on the mound tonight. So, hopefully that works out in our favor.
What does that do to a player? Spent 10 years with an organization. You get to see him again. Is there that added motivation you talk about, or do they kind of put that behind them?
I think it's different for different players and different on how that exit turns out. I know for me, whenever I got a chance to go against the Washington Nationals, I felt really excited about it and pumped up and wanted to show my former teammates, what they were missing a little bit, and that was fun. And I think he's going to have a lot of fun tonight.
Craig, the last couple of nights, you had great wins, as memorable of finishes as you can have. When you have those quality of finishes and celebrations this early in a season, as somebody who played not all that long ago, what can that do for a ball club this early in the year to have those kinds of moments?
Yeah, I think, one, it gives you confidence that we can win at any point in the game, and it could be not if we're going to win, but who's going to be the guy that, has the big hit or has the big moment in the game. I think that's one part of it. Another part of it is just like smiles and laughter and remembering what it's like to be a 10-year-old playing baseball and just being able to jump on home plate in front of 40,000 fans like nobody's even there, and just, let pure emotion go. So I think all those things are really good. It's good when we show up to the clubhouse every day after a win. Everybody smile a little bit more and excited about the next game, thinking, oh, man, what if we walk it off again,
That was Padres manager Craig Stamen earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Craig on our postgame coverage coming up a little bit later on this evening. First pitch coming up at 5:40 between the Padres and Colorado Rockies. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
We take a look at who's hot, who's not. Let's begin with the hot category. Gavin Sheets, 5 for 14 in his last 3 games, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs in that 3-game span. He's actually hitting .345 with a 1091 OPS in his last 30 plate appearances. Gavin with 2 home runs last night, including the walk-off 3-run shot in the 9th inning. Luis Campusano not in the lineup today, but certainly could see him off the bench at some point. He's been great as of late. 6 for his last 12 with 4 doubles, 1 home run, and 4 RBIs. The not category, we've talked a lot about Fernando Tatis Jr. playing second base tonight. Well, a hope could be that playing second base gets him going offensively. Fernando, 3 for 20 in his last 5 games. No extra base hits. Tatis hitting just 189 through 53 at-bats with a 519 OPS on the year. And that's a quick look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for the 3rd game of this 4-game series. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres right fielder tonight, Nick Castellanos, plus a look at our keys to today's game, and we hear from Fernando Tatis Tatis Jr. coming up in just a little bit as well. First pitch coming up at 5:40, Game 3 of this 4-game series against the Rockies on the Padres Radio Network.
Hello, friends. It's Woodsy here. Is your
Saturday night here in downtown San Diego. First pitch coming up between the Padres and Rockies at 5:40 p.m. Sam Levitt with you on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show from inside the Western Metal Building. Still a lot to do as we walk you up towards first pitch. We'll hear from Fernando Tatis Jr. in just a little bit. We'll hear from tonight's right fielder, Nick Castellanos, in just a moment as well. Our keys to today's game and much, much more. But first, let's give you an update on a Rocky back in the lineup here tonight.
Who's in, who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, talented Rockies catcher Hunter Goodman left Thursday's game with a right middle finger laceration. He got hit by a Randy Vasquez fastball on Thursday. Goodman was not in the lineup yesterday for the Rockies. He did pinch hit late, actually had a pinch hit RBI single as the Rockies tied the game. Goodman is back in the lineup for the Rockies tonight, DHing and cleaning up. So Hunter Goodman, who's a dangerous hitter, he is back in the starting lineup for the Rockies tonight after, again, getting hit by a pitch on Thursday. Did pinch hit last night, but Goodman back in the cleanup spot for Colorado. And that's a quick look at who's back in the lineup for the Rockies on today's injury report. Nick Castellanos in right field tonight for the Padres with Fernando Tatis Jr. at second base. Castellanos batting fifth behind Manny Machado, who's cleaning up tonight. Here was Nick Castellanos inside the clubhouse.
Nick, obviously you had nice contributions offensively on the road trip. How would you assess the last week or so, what you've done at the plate?
I think okay. I think that doing the best I can to stay within the strike zone and just put together good at-bats.
Speaking of the strike zone, your first time, much like everybody in this clubhouse, playing with the ABS, what's been your general impression the first couple of weeks with it?
I like it. I think it's cool to be able to hold the umpires accountable.
How have you gone about trying to adjust to the new position? What have you learned about not playing every day and having to come off the bench and all that? What have you learned about yourself, I guess?
Well, I'd say still learning. Not that like I finished learning the lesson yet. I would just say it's a little bit more difficult to lose myself in like the rhythm of the season. You know, I feel like when I've been at my best, you just kind of go on autopilot, knowing that there's 9 innings of baseball to be played defensively and offensively every night. So I think just now new ways to just stay doing something, because I'm somebody that I feel like I need to work. Like I need to move. I want to sweat just to kind of stay like feeling athletic. And yeah, I'm still learning, you know?
Are you someone who goes in the cage and just hits the game? Or?
Yes. Well, as a DH, sometimes I will, but sometimes that's not exactly good for me, because then I can like start tinkering and start to overthink something that I do best when I don't think about it. But just like I say, I'm open to the opportunity and just to continue to learn and be as adaptable as possible.
I've been playing this game probably for 25 years now. Do you ever?
34 years. 34 years.
Incredible. I was giving you a couple. You look a lot younger.
Thank you.
Do you ever feel like as long as you play another 20 years, will you ever stop learning?
I think that anybody who says that they've learned everything that this game has to offer is ignorant. I think that every way that you approach the game is, you know, like right now I'm seeing it from a completely new lens. I'm watching more baseball than I ever have. I'm you know, DHing and now having like sometimes I'm hitting, but I'm not playing defense, right? Like I'm able to have more conversations with coaches. Like I'm kind of seeing the way that the game is managed and like how they see certain things, where before I feel like it was from a lens of just me wanting to make sure that I'm on top of the only things that I have to worry about to be able to perform. So I think that there's always information that you can take in about the game if you're open to taking it in and you're willing to take it in.
That was tonight's right fielder, Nick Castellanos, earlier inside the Padres clubhouse. First pitch coming up at 5:40. We'll hear from tonight's second baseman, Fernando Tatis Jr., in just a little bit. Right now, let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Handful of headlines for you on this Saturday. Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman was scratched from the Baltimore lineup today because of left ankle soreness. So Rutschman out of the lineup. He's day to day. Blue Jays designated hitter George Springer suffered a fractured big toe on his left foot earlier today. Fouled the ball off his foot in the third inning of today's game against the Minnesota Twins. And Springer did have an x-ray at the stadium, and he does have a fracture in that left big toe. The Mets called up 9-time All-Star reliever Craig Kimbrell earlier today. They designated left-hander Richard Lovelady for assignment to make room on the 26-man roster. Kimbrell, now 37 years old, signed a minor league deal with the Mets in January, and he now is on the major league roster. And finally, Angels rookie right-hander George Klassen left today's game against the Reds in the third inning because of a bruised nail on his right index finger. So some injury news from around Major League Baseball today. And in our next segment, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. But those are some of the headlines from around the major leagues. When we come back, we have that out-of-town scoreboard, our keys to today's game. Plus, we hear from today's second baseman, Fernando Tatis Jr. Much more to do on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. This is the Padres Radio Network.
Keep it locked to the Eco.
EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 5:40 for Game 3 of this 4-game set between the Padres and Colorado Rockies. Right-hander Ryan Feltner on the mound tonight for Colorado, and former Rocky right-hander German Marquez on the mound for the Padres. We'll hear from Fernando Tatis Jr. in just a couple of minutes ahead of his first ever start at second base. But first, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a number of finals already today. Royals beat the White Sox 2-0 in Kansas City. A's beat the Mets in New York 11-6. Reds beat the Angels 7-3 in Cincinnati. Twins beat the Blue Jays 7-4 in Toronto. Pirates beat the Cubs in 11, 4-3 at Wrigley Field. Tigers beat the Marlins 6-1 in Detroit. Phillies over the D-backs 4-3 in Philadelphia. Games coming up, or I should say games going on right now. Yankees ahead of the Rays 3-2 in Tampa Bay in the 8th inning. Nationals and Brewers are scoreless in the 5th inning in Milwaukee. Guardians leading the Braves 1-0 in Atlanta in the 5th. The Orioles lead the Giants 2-1 in Baltimore in the 4th inning. Red Sox 2, Cardinals 0 in the 4th inning in St. Louis. And a couple of other games coming up aside from this one. Rangers in LA at Dodger Stadium against the Dodgers at 6:10. And finally, Astros and the Mariners at 6:40 in Seattle. And we'll have much more on all those games coming up a little bit later during our post-game coverage. First pitch coming up at 5:40 here in downtown San Diego. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game on the Padres Radio Network.
Couple of quick keys for you. Key number 1, pitching power. The Padres have won 7 of their last 9 games since losing 4 of their first 5 to begin the season. And a big reason why they've been winning as of late, they have been very consistent as far as their pitching. Padres have a 2.74 ERA as a staff and just 3 home runs allowed in the past 9 games. How about that? 3 home runs allowed in the past 9 games. Padres need more of that from German Marquez in their bullpen tonight. And speaking of the pen, one thing to keep in mind tonight, Padres almost certainly will be without Mason Miller tonight. He's pitched in 3 straight days. I find it very, very hard to believe that he would throw 4 days in a row for the first time in his career here in April. So in all likelihood, Mason Miller unavailable tonight. I won't say it 100%, but in all likelihood, I would imagine Mason Miller will not pitch tonight. Key number 2, slug away. The Padres have now homered in 4 consecutive games. Last night, they homered twice in an inning for the very first time this season. It was the team's first 3 home run game, and it was the first time a player, last night Gavin Sheets, homered twice in a game. So more slug and the continued success of their pitching, 2 very basic but still very essential keys in Game 3 of this 4-game series. And that's a look at our keys to tonight's game. Well, the headline heading into this one, no doubt about it, when the lineup came out today, it was Fernando Tatis Jr. making his first career start at second base. His only ever appearance at second base was in September of 2023. You might remember late in the year, he was put at second base in the top of the 9th inning against the Phillies. He had a couple of chances and did well on that day in September of 2023, but he has never played at second base as far as in a start in the major leagues. He will do that for the first time today. Here was Fernando Tatis Jr. on the field before today's game, talking about getting this brand new opportunity.
What's your initial reaction? First of all, when did you find out, too?
We have been talking about it. I mean, there were talks here and there in the off season, but from talking to actually making it happen, like a couple of weeks back, we were talking about it, and we just find it was the best way for the team right now.
Is this something you've wanted to do, to move back to the infield? Or have some time at the infield, I should say.
I can play whatever, and I'm just here to play baseball and to be a good baseball player.
Fernando, you've been taking some ground balls over there the last couple of weeks. Obviously, you just did work out there today. What's your level of preparation to play a position like second base?
A lot of preparation, something I've been doing my entire life. So, not something that is up the chart, but I'm just looking forward to it.
Was there any talk about you going to shortstop instead, or why or why not?
I'm not going to say anymore.
Okay.
Is it fun to have sort of a new thing, a new challenge?
Definitely a new challenge, and a little bit more focus here and there, but it's still playing baseball, and it's a beautiful thing.
Who brought up the idea of the first this offseason? Was it you or is it the team?
It was the manager. He said, just be ready here and there, and told me I'm a really good athlete in the field, especially defensively, and I'm a piece that can be moved around.
Did you take it seriously at first? Did you think this?
Not really. I didn't take it that serious, but here we are today.
What do you make overall? Just how much, I guess, experimenting he's done early so far as a young manager. He's done like all the lineups, putting you at second base. Seems like he's open to trying a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a guy that that is just gonna bore us. So it's been fun, and he's been leading this team the right way. I mean, we're not to a little bit slow start, but here we are today, and a lot of good wins back to back, and then we're just finding a way how to win ball games.
You hit the ball well again last night. I know the baseball gods still mad at you, right? Can a position change? I don't know. Can it do anything for you mentally? Just get your mind somewhere else?
It's baseball. Anything can work and anything cannot work in this game. But obviously, I'm playing infield is a little bit way more different than playing outfield. So let's see how my eyes and hand coordination are right there.
Are you excited to turn a double play again?
Definitely. It's gonna be definitely excited and looking forward to it.
The infield staff, Ryan Goins, Nick Punto, they've worked with so many guys since the start of spring training. Have they been particularly helpful in getting you ready for this?
Yeah, definitely. We have done a bunch of drills, saw good defense, good baseball, and they have definitely been involved in really good baseball conversations.
Does any part of you look at what Mookie Betts has done over the last several years and say, like, I'm a good athlete too, I can do something like that?
I mean, he has done it, and obviously I know I can do it on any part of the field playing defense. So, like I said, just looking forward to the challenge and embracing it.
Did you get any work there over spring or recently?
Recently, we had, especially super early, behind closed doors. But we have stayed in touch.
That was tonight's second baseman, Fernando Tatis Jr. Earlier today here at Petco Park. We'll talk more about Fernando, the offensive side of his game, in just a moment. Before we do that, let's take a quick look at today's starting pitching matchup. Right-hander German Marquez facing his former team, the Colorado Rockies, for the first time. Marquez, who signed a one-year deal with the Padres a couple of months ago, is the Rockies' all-time leader in strikeouts. He made his major league debut for Colorado back in September of 2016, right here in San Diego. His 10 seasons with the club are tied for the most in franchise history for a pitcher. Marquez was very, very good on Monday in Pittsburgh, 5 scoreless innings. Meanwhile, Ryan Feltner, right-hander on the mound for Colorado. He beat the Astros on Monday despite giving up 4 runs in 5 innings and a third. Feltner threw 3 scoreless innings in Toronto in his season debut, threw 70 pitches on Monday against the Astros, so likely he'll be in the 80 to 85 pitch range maximum here tonight. Feltner has been good against the Padres in his career, a 3.80 ERA in 5 career starts against San Diego. First pitch coming up at 5:40. Let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
We've spent all this time today talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. playing second base, and rightfully so. When you have a player of that caliber making his first ever start at a new position, rightfully so. However, let's be honest for a second. What Fernando does at the plate offensively is still the main thing. What is most important to this Padres team. Last night, the baseball guides remained unkind to Fernando Tatis Jr. He went 0 for 4. But here's the thing. Tatis continues to hit the ball really hard, he just doesn't have a lot to show for it. This was a note from Kevin Acee in this morning's San Diego Union Tribune. Fernando Tatis Jr.'s 18 balls in play at 100-mile-per-hour exit velocity or harder, including 3 of them last night. That's tied for third most in the major leagues. On those 18 balls in play, he's hitting .454. That sounds pretty good, but it's actually 117 points lower than major league average. So what to watch for in tonight's game? Yes, Fernando playing second base, but also can Fernando continue to hit the ball hard, and can he see some better results from it finally here tonight? That's what to watch for in tonight's game. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.